The movie begins with young Superman watching an alien movie at his friend's house. He relates to the alien by not being able to fit in and becomes miserable. On his drive back home, his father Jonathan Kent tries to comfort him. He and his wife Martha Kent know their son is different from other kids. The couple found Clark as a baby in a pod in their fields, and from that day they took him under their love and care, raising him as their own. They notice his super strength and extraterrestrial powers, but treat him like a normal kid. Clark hears his parents voicing their worries about him struggling to figure out his identity. He is seen trying to pry open a mysterious pyramid-like object that came with him in his cot when he was a baby. As he throws it away in frustration, the object glows up and hovers. Time goes by, and a grown man Clark makes his way to his workplace, the Daily Planet in Metropolis, where he works as an intern. His team has gathered to witness Lex, the CEO of LexCorp, revealing an orbital rocket telescope that will help them discover extraterrestrial life. Clark makes small talk with a janitor, Ruddy, who works there at Star Labs. He informs Superman of the strange experiments that are conducted inside the lab. He also informs that the government has come across a flying ship, and there might be a future encounter with extraterrestrial beings. Clark notices a mysterious guy in a long coat spying on him from a safe distance. When Lex asks the journalists for questions, Louis Lane, a reporter, calls him out for fraud and negligence. Unaffected, Lex launches the rocket, but as it begins to ascend, it changes its trajectory due to a malfunction and aims for the Earth. While everyone is watching, Superman realizes he needs to help the people, despite being warned earlier by his parents to lay low. He escapes the crowd, and using his flying abilities, he steers the rocket away from the Earth, going high in space. He notices that being close to the sun is amplifying his powers, as though charging him. Next, Lex is imprisoned for his actions. Louis Lane joins the Daily Planet, and Superman is smitten by her. He tries to strike up a conversation with her while she is working on her latest report, which Clark later finds out is the identity of Superman. Superman learns from the news that a UFO has been detected by Star Labs. It turns out that it is a bounty hunter, Lobo, from some other world who has come to eliminate Superman for the reward. They break into a fight, and Lobo is astounded by Superman's strength. He tells Superman he is the only Kryptonian alive. They fight all over Metropolis and head towards Star Labs, where janitor Ruddy signals all the crew to run to safety. But he is caught in the crossfire and is hit by a weapon that releases a purple fluid that engulfs him. Star Lab is destroyed due to the fight. Lobo uses all his weapons to subdue Superman, but when he sees he is unable to succeed against Superman's strength, Lobo uses his kryptonite ring to defeat him. He beats up Superman badly. Suddenly, a Martian shows up and he pulls away Lobo from Superman. Lobo attacks the Martian, but he is too advanced for him. Superman gathers all his energy to fly toward the sun, and once his energy is replenished, he heads back to the Earth and finally subdues Lobo. The Martian disappears. All the fight has been broadcasted live while being witnessed by the Star Lab crew and media personnel. Back at the Daily Planet, Louis informs Clark that she will interview Lobo, who is under custody at Star Labs, to get to know Superman. Meanwhile, Ruddy is being treated for his organ failure, but he wakes up on the operating table, draining the life of the people around him and eliminating them. He has turned into some kind of monster from the attack. Superman visits his parents in Kansas, where the mysterious man in a long coat reappears. He is actually the Martian, named Jayons, who reveals the truth of Superman's Kryptonian past and identity. He activates that pyramid object from Superman's childhood and shows some memories of Superman from his infancy. The Martian goes on to reveal that just like Superman, he is also the last Martian to exist. He asks Superman to maintain a low profile since the humans are xenophobic. Superman disagrees and tells him that Louis Lane is already preparing to out his identity. The Martian leaves Superman to make his decision, whether to stay hidden as Clark Kent or reveal his true self to the people. Martha gives Superman the suit she has made for him. It turns out to be the cloth Superman was swaddled in when he arrived on Earth. It seems like she is ready for Superman to tell the world who he actually is, especially when humans are already speculating about the flying hero being Superman. Meanwhile, Louis interviews the restrained Lobo at Star Labs, but he does not give any useful information to her regarding Superman except for the fact that he is the last of his kind. When she signals the guards to let her out, she notices that they have dried up and died. Ruddy breaks into that cell, advancing toward Lobo because he wants to know what is happening to him. When he makes his way to the electric confinement, Lobo is locked in. He unknowingly absorbs all the electricity and transforms into a monster. Louis Lane manages to record all of this from her hiding spot. Superman arrives and brings her to safety. He asks her not to run her story and promises an interview after the fight so he can be the one to tell his own story. After that, he heads for the monster, who escapes from the lab and attacks the city. It seems that the monster is a parasite that can feed on any source of energy. He wrecks the tram, and just as he is about to attack the people inside, Superman blocks his attack. The Martian also shows up, and they team up to fight the parasite monster. However, since the parasite has the ability to extract energy, it manages to absorb Superman's strength, which makes him even stronger, leaving Superman weak. He also manages to extract information, aware of Superman's identity. Martian tries to intervene, but the parasite monster is now too strong and he eliminates the Martian by burning him through laser beams from his eyes, a new power he just absorbed from Superman. Next, Clark tries to regain his powers, but he is too weak. Louis Lane visits him to tell him he has been fired from the Daily Planet. Clark keeps up his pretense by pretending he is not cut for journalism, but Louis inspires him, pushing him to ask for help. This is when Clark notices Lex in the newspaper and decides to pay him a visit. Clark goes to see Lex and asks him to take him to space as he owns a few rockets. Lex is aware that the sun serves as a power source to Superman. However, he is surprised that Superman has lost his powers. Superman explains to him that the parasite monster is on the loose and he cannot save the people unless he regains his powers. Lex agrees. Lex shows him video footage of his fight with Lobo, and Superman figures out that the parasite monster is actually the janitor Ruddy, who got consumed by the purple fluid from Lobo's grenade. Lex explains that the purple material was an EMP, originally designed to absorb all forms of energy it comes in contact with, and it had merged with Ruddy's DNA, turning him into the parasite monster. He figures out how to take down Ruddy by addressing his weaknesses, or, since he has absorbed Superman's energy, so Superman's weaknesses. As it happens, Lex has bought the Star Labs and Lobo is now under his authority. Together, they plan to take down the parasite using the kryptonite from Lobo's kryptonite ring. Lobo and Superman work together and lure the parasite to the Metropolis power plant with Lex's help. Superman tries to attack the monster with his laser beam, but his power is not strong enough to overpower the monster. Lobo tries to take the monster down with his kryptonite ring, but it appears that the ring has no effect on the monster. While Lobo tries to escape, the monster catches hold of him. Before Superman can stop him, Lobo jacket. This leaves the parasite monster even stronger. The air defense launch multiple missiles at the monster, but each only adds to his strength, rendering all efforts useless. Superman tries to distract the monster to keep it from reaching the power plant, because if it got there, his strength would grow multifold. Despite his efforts, the monster manages to catch Superman. As he is extracting Superman's remaining strength, Superman shouts to Lex to help him, but it happens so that Lex, being the evil mastermind he is, double-crosses Superman. He has retrieved Lobo's kryptonite ring and he uses it in a LexCorp magnifying pulse rifle to attack the monster as well as Superman. Lex claims he wants to be the most powerful man on Earth by being able to control the two most powerful beings on the planet, the parasite monster and Superman. Lex is about to eliminate Superman, but suddenly, the Martian arrives. It appears that he had faked his passing to escape the monster. Superman tries to yield the kryptonite ring, but he is instantly weakened by it. Lex grabs it and runs away, but the Martian follows him closely at his heels and captures him. Superman notices that the parasite is making his way toward people stuck in traffic on a nearby highway. Louis Lane starts broadcasting live and states that even though he is thought of as an alien, Superman is the only one standing between the humans and the monster. Superman knows he has to stop the monster before it is too late. He tries to address the parasite as Ruddy, asking him to find humanity in his heart, as he is still Ruddy Jones, a veteran, a husband, a father, and a human. The monster seems to calm down a bit. This is where Superman addresses the angry crowd, revealing to the people that he is the alien, Kal-El, hailing from a dying planet Krypton, sent to Earth by his parents in the hope to keep their child safe and protected. But the fear of the people often leads to the execution of outsiders. The crowd calms down, but one of them instigates the parasite. Superman tries to hold him back but eventually fails, falling to the ground. At the same time, the power plant begins to overload. Martian communicates with Superman via his telepathy and summons him for help. The drained Superman struggles to make his way toward the reactor, but he is unable to. This is where the parasite turns toward the reactor and rushes to it. He knows he can absorb this energy and save the people. However, the power is too much for him to endure and he dies. The people realize that he was not a monster inside. In the end, the immortal Lobo bids goodbye to Martian and Superman and leaves for Zarnia, after telling them that they might not be the lone survivors of their kind. Louis Lane approaches Superman for the promised interview, but he uses her power play tactics and asks her to reschedule. Superman is happy to be accepted by the people he calls his own, the humans.